morning. It's bright and early here in Istanbul. Getting ready to meet the Vera Clinic staff. They picked me up in this beautiful car, and I'm getting ready for the early morning consultation. Good morning here at Vera Clinic. I had a very exciting journey to Turkey, Istanbul. The first time I'm here, obviously. This is quite the experience. I've actually been very comfortable getting here. The VIP pickup in the hotel all the way from the airport has been amazing. And now I just finished my consultation. I'm about to get started, and I'm excited to show you guys the results.
What's up, everyone? How you doing? Welcome to Generation Iron Podcast. Your host, me, Victor Martinez, here with Edwin Mejia and Vlad Yudin.
No son today.
No, son. We miss him, but you know what? He is here with us, and he'll be laughing as well. We're in the office. We're in the whole base for Generation Iron.
We are in the GI HQ here in New York today, and we're excited because we're giving away another case of Muscle Meds Carnivore RTD. Big shout out to Muscle Meds Carnivore RTD, the best beef isolate protein in the market, and they have the RTD version. And today we have a question.
Hold on. That's all they get, though. I see you have the aroma test here. Yeah, this is good for a lot of guys out there. Remember, whether you're natural or juicing, great product.
We just covered aroma tests. It's an inhibitor, right?
Yes.
So a lot of people don't realize that there's a problem with testosterone with today's youth.
Yep.
So there's a huge decline in testosterone, natural testosterone in today's youth, which is being converted to estrogen, a lot of it. And I think this particular product we started covering on Generation 9 with our writers and our experts. And, you know, it's a highly recommended product that you might know a little bit more about.
Yes,
right,
of course. And again, a lot of guys think if you on steroids, you get gyno, but that's not always the case. So this is actually works good for both natural and guys that juice up. Great product. Again, you're only going to get better muscle quality, and again, less estrogen.
So shout out to Muscle Meds. You guys get a chance to win either aroma test or a case of Muscle Meds RTD Carnivore Beef Protein. So today, Vic, I believe you selected this particular question for Mr. Ronald Baez. Shout out to Mr. Ronald Baez, lucky winner today.
What's up, Ronald?
And his question for Vic was, how much of a difference did you notice from farm grade GH or lab GH, like the Chinese kind? Do you think the Serostim is that much better of a competitive 34-year-old male? Thanks for the love on the podcast.
All right, this is an open question because you have to remember, you brought up the Chinese grade GH. It was one point when they first came out, I would have to say the first 3 years, they were good. I would have to say they were good. What happens? Just like anything else, they make good sales. They're making good quality products. The profit margin is small. So what do? They lower the quality, bring up the profits, show for the products. It's no longer good. If you are buying it, unless you're in China, working with someone in the government, in the pharmaceutical grade, then maybe. But as of right now, getting here to the U.S., I will have to say, no way, Jose. Or in this case, what's his name?
Ronald Baez. Mr. Ronald Baez.
Ronald. So, Ronald, and listen, you just brought up Serostin. You just brought up some name brands from the U.S. You can't beat those. You have the Gentech. You have the Serrano, the Serostin, you have your Humotropes. All of those, mind you, they do make fakes. They do rebottle after they use them. They do rebottle them. There are bootleggers everywhere, man. Bootleggers everywhere. So I suggest you buy it from somebody who either has the prescription. And mind you, anybody who always says they have 10, 20, 30, or 40, it's a lie. It's a lie because they restrict it more than ever. It first started being given to a lot of AIDS patients. AIDS patients used whatever amount they wanted to use. That's why they were looking in such great shape at one point for muscle wasting. But it's derived from, I think, cadaver, and I think it's rats or something.
Wow.
You know? Yeah, but a lot of them now are, they're synthetically made. Gentech was definitely one of the good ones. Harder to get. They give it to a lot of kids who have the growth problems.
Yep.
Stunted growth.
The stunted growth. Yeah, I've heard about that.
I visited one of my friends' kids that had this, and how dare they question me why there's one vial missing while I was there. But yes, there's a lot of great products. I will have to say there are some good places that still take pride into their products. Mexico, again, they play with it too much. If it's not a name brand, if it's not I would say Eli Lilly, Humatrope, in the box, sealed, official, I will only recommend buying those. They have some in Colombia. They come in the pen. It's hard because they come mixed. I think those are, don't mind me on those, if they're pens. I forgot, It's been a while. But those come already pre-mixed. And the thing is, when they're pre-mixed, they have to usually be refrigerated. Now, how do you know the person that gave it to you transported it from one point to the other, refrigerated, and therefore doesn't become stable anymore? So now you're getting stuff that's not good.
Yeah.
That's the golden grail of Ceristin. You could transport at room temperature. Once you mix it, it must be refrigerated. So that's the better quality one. I would suggest for you, you said you were 34?
He was, let me see, Mr. Ronald Baez is 34-year-old male.
34. That 34, don't go crazy, use enough. And that being said, that you don't have any cancer in your family, there's saying that anyone who has cancer will, kind of ignite it, or the sorts. I don't know. I think Dennis Newman was the only one I think I heard of this case. And was it proven that it was that? I don't know. Can't say so, but I still remember that kind of story floating around. Use about 2 IUs, and 1 IU is what women use. I think Madonna uses about 2. It's not allegedly. She speaks about it, very open about it.
I heard about that too, yeah.
Madonna's HGH, she's a big believer. She takes a B12, and I think there was one story that one time she had told Justin Timberlake, turn around and give him a shot of B12. It's like, you look malnourished, you look mad pale. But
Vic would know because Vic just hangs out.
Anytime I hear about celebrities working out, training, I know they're doing the right thing to take care of themselves. And in reality, if you're rich and you are taking care of yourself, this is how you do longevity. It's not just Botox. That's just the surface.
You have advised any other celebrity? I mean, I'm sure you have behind the scenes.
There is. I do know them. I will not mention their names because, again, Madonna spoke about it openly. I'll mention that. If she wouldn't have, and I heard it just in the same room with her, I probably would have never mentioned it. But
well, I'm sure, guys. I'm sure there's a lot of guys out there that come to you, Vic, for advice.
So. But definitely, I would say switch up the GH sometimes and don't go year round. I think people also think going year round with this is crazy. But take a break. Check your GH levels. Switch every once in a while from one GH to another. And I don't know what else to say about GH. I think I said a lot.
I think we answered Ronald's question.
And the price usually is about average, good price, $5 per IU is common.
So, Mr. Ronald Baez, you are this week's winner, my friend. You will get a case of carnivore RTD, or aromatest. We will be reaching out to you, and thank you guys. Please continue to submit your questions below the comment section, and Vic will make sure he picks one and answers.
Bring him in.
Yeah.
All right.
So
choose wisely, all right? Choose wisely.
So this week, I know one of the bigger questions as well that we've been getting, and obviously has been trending in the news, is how long should people be fasting for in bodybuilding? And there are a lot of different answers to that from different coaches, different bodybuilders, pros, trainers, you mentioned, and influencers, right? And this past week, we saw that the influencer Alex Eubank was recently hospitalized because I think he was hospitalized for 48 hours. We covered that on Generation Iron, but a part of that was due to excessive fasting. So I guess a big question that we get, Vic, as well, is that how many...
So what is the influence?
I mean, that's a good question.
Get yourself freaking sick and go to a hospital? Like, what are you in? Like, what's his main
So
influence?
he's in, they're saying he's in for a lot of PEDs and all this other stuff. But, of course, he's saying that it is due to, I believe, was excessive fasting.
How long did he fast for?
48 hours, according to
the
news, yeah.
Maybe he wanted to connect to God or something. I don't know.
So the question is, I mean, does it get too dangerous? When does it get too dangerous, Vic, to fast? Or what kind of fasting gets too dangerous?
Obviously, for him, 48 hours.
We've met some guys that actually fast for 24 hours. I mean, it's pretty impressive.
I actually done pretty long, not by choice, but because I just felt like doing it. I did about 2 days. Yeah, it was long, but I wasn't, of course, working out. All right. Yeah, man. Pretty boy, man. I got to say so. Definitely, man. Get locked up, I'll bang you out. But,
don't get locked up.
But you are in shape. You're in good shape, actually. I will have to say so. I don't think you really needed to go that far, but I think you did it for the gram to kind of...
Right. The question, Vic, have you bagged out guys and,
Nah, man. It's not one of those things. When you say it out loud, you most likely are not. And
So what happened to him? So 48 hours he didn't eat it and then...
He landed in the hospital. He was in the emergency room.
It was just trying. I think he did it for the gram. It's one of those things where you do enough, kind of like the guy who ties up the bench and starts doing, chin-ups. No, he does a lot of crazy shit until he gets hurt, which I don't want him to, but, but it's...
Yeah, we featured him a couple times in Generation.
Yeah.
With the benches and the seats and all that stuff on his back.
Dude, man. No, I like to see him do that with ladies attached to him better, you know?
Right. Well, Bradley Martin does that all the time.
There you go, man. Keep that coming, A bench? What is that, man? But,
So what do you think about, fasting? Look, obviously people do it for bacteria, to eliminate bacteria and all this other stuff. Vic, if you were to recommend a pro or let's say an amateur, what would you recommend to a normal person as well? So there's 3 different types of levels.
Again, based on his body type. Is he an ectomorph, mesomorph? Is he fat? Is he slim?
He looks to me like an ectomorph to be.
Yeah. They don't need it unless now he has stomach issues. You have stomach issues.
Right.
A lot of bloat, a lot of things going on. You try dieting, you try training. You know what? Let's hit the source of your problems. Let's hit the gut.
Right.
Because the gut health is very important health, as we discussed before.
Well, speaking of gut health,
we'll get there. But this guy, again, I know he did it for the gram. He can try to prove me wrong, but I would have to say there's no good goddamn reason why you want to starve yourself for 48 hours unless you were going to, do a hot dog eating contest or something. But
have you ever fasted for a competition, meaning like, let's say, you were overweight by a certain amount of pounds and you had to come down? Obviously, in addition to any type of calorie deficit or, dieting, did you have to actually fast?
I think I was about 290. And I would just eat and I would just eat and swell. And this was in 2005. So best thing I can do is I did not want to fast because I'm a fat boy. I wanted to eat, So what I did was I ate only 2 meals a day.
I see.
Moderate meals. I don't like really stuffing myself beyond that time. I guess for most people they are big meals. Yeah. For most people they are. But I started just eating 2 meals a day, trained. I know it wasn't enough protein, but I wanted to bring down the water and bring down the fat. And it actually worked because that year I got 5th. in the Olympia.
Wow. So it worked
out.
out.
So it does help. There's other methods. I know people who do micro dosing with shrooms so they could not eat that much.
Yeah.
The ideal fasting for me, as I got older, I found out it's I would believe 12 maximum 16 hours is like borderline. I could push 14, but 12 is good enough for me.
Got it.
I feel good, not that bad. But again, we go to gut health. You're having gut issues, your extended belly and all that. You know what? Extend it a little bit longer. And the problem is, too, with fasting, people just go berserk.
Yeah.
They fast and they start eating crap.
So that brings us to a next topic, obviously, which is gut health. And obviously for us, we get a lot of questions on bubble guts and also Palumboism, which is termed after...
Yep. It happened to me once, actually.
So let me ask you a question: Is bubble gut just related to GH or
it's not?
PEDs,
It's not
or
just GH.
Can you get bubble gut and not be on PEDs?
No, it's not just GH, because I can name tons of bodybuilders who used and abused a lot of GH. They did not get it. Again, based on genetics. But the bubble gut happens because you are trying to get bigger.
Right.
You are juicing, you are taking GH, but now you're trying to put this amount of food in your stomach.
Right.
And your stomach only holds so much. So you start force feeding. What does that happen? It makes your stomach grow.
Yeah.
Just like anything else.
Why is it called Palumboism?
Oh, man.
Vic could answer that question.
Listen, hey, Palumbo, man, you my boy, man. You helped me come in right, bro, for my show.
Yeah, it's called after a specific person.
If I'm correct, I think it was from, when we going back to getbig.com, you know, and that's when it first started coming out, because Palumbo at that time came back and he was shot. And
we covered it in the past on Generation 9.
Yes,
He comes out with a huge
came
belly.
back, you know, to attain his pro card. This is, I think he just started Species, and he wanted to get back. But Palumbo is great. He knows his stuff. I mean, I'll use him anytime for his knowledge. But he came back, and it was one of those things that he could not control his stomach. But Palumbo ate so much food. I remember him eating all the time. Like most people had cigarettes and a gum in their mouth. He had food, but his biggest meal was always McDonald's. He ate a lot of McDonald's.
So, quick question, Vic. What would you say was the worst case of Palumboism you've seen in your career?
Oh man, there's some man that I seen guys on the stage. Hold on. A couple of them passed away. I will not throw them under
Well, Phil got a lot of flack for that.
It did happen, but remember, he had the hernia. He had the hernia. The hernia will extend your stomach slightly, and it's hard to control now because you have that tissue in there, and it's happens. But yes, I've seen guys standing on stage once, and I had turned around, and I felt bad. You know, it wasn't one of these things where I said, "Oh, I'm going to crush you. Oh, you look like crap." I felt like, damn, man. Like
in Phil's case, for example, it only was showing when, like, let's say when he was hitting the pose, then it was fine. But it's when he was turning and breathing or taking a break.
And
taking pictures from the side of the stage, and that was like a big debate.
No, they caught me when you hit the back double bicep. You know,
it comes out.
It comes out. It's just. I mean, some guys.
Can you be judged for that? Like if you're on stage, for example, right, and then you hit a shot on you from the side, and you just breathing.
No, it's true. I mean, should you be judged? Everybody, yes, but some judges are selective, and they judge it on the one that they don't want to place high, and they make that a point. Like, we saw your gut. But what do you mean you saw my gut? I mean, there's a few guys that won Olympias that had huge guts. You know, so it's pick and choose. You know, it's selective. It's one of those.
Gut discrimination.
Yeah, I mean, but it has happened. They made more of a big emphasis now. They don't like it at all. So now when I show guys how to pose and everything, I always tell them, just watch your quarter turn. Just breathe on the diaphragm. Turn around, you know. And that's why I think Classic Physique has been a hit, because I don't think any Classic Physique, even though I think I seen one, it wasn't going to vacuum out of that thing, man. You know, he's not gonna suck. He was definitely blown.
You know what's interesting? I remember doing an interview with Phil. He lost the title to Sean Roden, and in an interview he was like, "I beat him at every single pose. We only took points away for the stomach issue, right?" Then I interviewed Steve Weinberger like a week later.
No, Steve hates that.
And Steve was like, "No, the thing is like even it still ties into your overall physique." So he was explaining what the judging was.
Yeah, but you got to remember, you know, I mean, some great Olympians have won, and they were up there with big guts at the time. So, but at that time, it was kind of like, let's let it slide.
Right. Well, I mean, that's interesting. There's a lot of bubble gum.
A lot of prevention is
not eating McDonald's.
Well, the McDonald's, like, come
start.
on, well, you want to hate McDonald's, you know? They like, consider like emergency food, man. You're somewhere stuck, you have no choice, you need calories, you haven't eaten a meal. McDonald's comes into play, but if you have good choices, like, dude, I mean, unless you're broke, or unless you have a McDonald's fetish, of course. A lot of people do, but I would have to say, don't overeat and don't stuff yourself trying to make weight. A lot of these young guys, I always see them like, man, I want to get bigger. I'm going to eat, 6 meals. I'm like, it just doesn't work that way, you know? You're eating all this food, you're not digesting right, you're adding more food to it, so you're creating backup traffic without the, digestion. You know, if you don't digest well, or with somebody less genetically gifted that digests pretty good, keeps a flat stomach, don't overeat, don't force feed. Breads, cheese, and all that. Again, this is certain particular individuals what happens. Some people can eat all of that and they'll be fine. But there's a way to avoid it, and just, don't eat them up yum, all right?
So in that case, I mean, the next thing, which we wanted to chat with you on, is people asking what supplements they should stay away from. Is there anything that you typically stay away from, Vic? Over the kind of supplements, FDA-approved supplements, or even energy drinks, too. Anything that you don't take that you necessarily stay away from the most part?
I mean, energy drinks, I'm an espresso guy, so I don't really, not much of a go-to energy drink guy.
There you go, that's one. So pre-workouts, you don't take pre-workouts?
Yeah, it's just...
RTDs or anything like that, or energy RTDs?
Yeah, I mean, again, if I'm in a situation where I'm extremely tired, I have to go do something, it's like, listen, let's do it, because you don't want to look, freaking...
tired and everything.
Yeah,
exhausted.
beaten up. So, but the thing is, most people cannot get into the gym without the energy drink, and that's why I tell them. That's why when you miss that day, you don't have the drink, you're always gonna have a workout. So, say use it when you need it. Use it. You had a long day at work, use it. But most of these kids that are using energy drinks are home all day anyways, doing a whole lot of nothing, and they just like the feeling of it.
It's funny to see all these companies now like going at each other. Like you have Prime, Logan Paul. You have
something happened with Prime, right?
No, they're claiming they have too much caffeine in their drinks, and underage kids are like consuming them, and it's dangerous. But that's not only them. I mean, you have guys like More Plates, More Dates with their own energy drinks now. So it's like there's these issues about how much caffeine is good enough for kids, right? So, well, the it's FDA approved, and should the FDA step in and make it right, kind of like alcohol, where you have to show proof of ID at retail. So they're kind of claiming maybe that should do the same thing for energy drinks, and perhaps there's a case for that, because there are kids that are underage taking these energy drinks that have a lot of issues with aspartame and all these other horrible ingredients. So people need to look at the ingredients, and I think I'm with Vic on that. People should be careful with what they take as a pre-workout, but also coffee, if you like caffeine, coffee, espresso is a good alternative. The energy drink advocates are going to say, well, it doesn't give you the same power and potency that an energy drink does, but, there's a lot of pros and cons to taking energy drinks too.
Yeah, everybody's different. I mean, I like my espresso. I mean, what's the other thing I like, actually? Ephedra. Real Ephedra. Every time I go out of the country, I always come back with my own private stash. Like to use it. Government, regulated it here for whatever reason, because Pfizer didn't own it, I guess. But it's regulated. But again, pace yourself. Use it when you need it. Leg workout, back. I don't know. Just slow down the energy drinks. And I know you're not going to listen. I'm just saying it, though.
And then the other thing we wanted to talk about, Mike Mentzer, he's a guy that is getting a lot of, his information is going out a lot. He has these philosophies in bodybuilding that have really continued to grow and live within the bodybuilding realm. We lived, obviously, with people like, obviously, Vic, you've seen the 70s and the golden era of bodybuilding that inspired you, right?
Yeah. So he was one of these guys that would hunker down and write. Every story I hear from everybody that knew him, it was always good conversation, good person. He wrote Heavy Duty. Good book.
He won the IFBB Mr. America as well, but then he competed in 79 and won.
Yeah.
At the Olympia level, yeah.
Yeah, he did Heavy Duty, and I think a lot of guys were influenced. I was influenced by him in the beginning because he was training so little, but yet, he got big. He was massive. And I think one of the biggest persons that followed one of his techniques and actually worked and made him, Mr. Olympia, 6 times, Dorian Yates?
Yeah, Dorian Yates 6 times.
Yeah. So it was, it does make sense when you read it. Most people will see it now and will not make sense at all because everybody believes, no days off, balls to the walls, train every day. And it's one of those things that just worked. I apply it. Right now I'm not training 6-7 days a week. I do 4. I don't do that many sets, but every once in a while I do like high volume. I like the feel of it. Some people don't like the feel of high volume, and it does work. So he did create a movement. Not too many people gravitated, but I know people apply to his methods. The low reps, heavier weights.
Well, shout out to Mike Mentzer and
rest in peace, Mike.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us in this week's podcast. Please remember to like, follow, and also subscribe. And make sure to download anywhere you follow any podcast, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. Until next time.
No, stop. Who are you? I'm the guy that's gonna change your life. Introducing Carnivore. 100% beef protein, 0 sugar, and lactose free, which means it's not gonna upset your stomach like this. You gotta try this. Best part about it is, beef builds muscle, so you're gonna grow. I'm just gonna take this away. You don't need this, man.